Hello and welcome to my review of Tony Scott's new film, Unstoppable, starring Denzel Washington and Chris Pine. Yep, I was somehow able to watch another movie after watching Skyline. Hold on one second. That laundry basket in the background won't be a problem anymore. And while we're at it, aw yeah. Wasn't I talking about a movie? Oh yeah. Unstoppable centers on two railroaders, played by said actors Denzel Washington and Chris Pine, who have to stop a freed railway train that is God knows how long. They said it was as big as the Chrysler Building, but that is an exaggeration. It's a runaway train that is huge and is carrying toxic chemicals and is traveling at very fast speeds. If it were to get into a populated area, the results would be disastrous. I went into this movie with kind of neutral expectations. I like both Denzel Washington and Chris Pine, but Tony Scott directing another movie about trains, not really very exciting. I did enjoy taking of Pelham 123, but I don't think he should revisit it, even though I'm not really a fan of his past films either. I didn't like Man on Fire at all, and Top Gun is vastly overrated. This movie kind of just, it was in the ballpark. It wasn't bad, wasn't great, just alright. Definitely a nice rebound from that other piece of dreck I saw today. The best thing about this movie is also the detriment. It's the realism. I actually found the film to be somewhat realistic. Tony Scott does take it out of control a little bit. There are some unbelievable parts in the film. But for the most part, it is pretty grounded, and I did appreciate that. But it hurts the pacing of the film drastically. I really wasn't enjoying myself for the first half of this film. I found it very slow, very boring. And I know they have to build things up, and I'm fine with that. I just wish the film would have gotten started a little quicker with just the high-speed pursuit, because once it jumps into the second half, it actually becomes a lot of fun. They spend too much time in this sense of calm, and when it really picks up the urgency, that's when the film becomes exciting. Also, the two main performances from the leads were very good for what they had to do. They didn't have a whole lot to work with, but they're manageable. They're two very capable actors, and especially I'm really enjoying Chris Pine lately. I think he's a really good actor who could probably become a big star. He's a lot less annoying than someone like Shia LaBeouf, or even like a lot of these younger stars who are starting to come up. He's one that I actually think could legitimately have a long-lasting career in films. And you have to give Denzel Washington his props. No matter how bad the movie is, I'm not saying this movie's bad, but he's good in everything. He brought real humanity to his character, and I appreciated that. As I said before, the pacing is a little off, but I just want to tell you, don't go into this expecting an action film, like, guns blazing, huge explosions everywhere. There's a fair share of it, but it's kind of a slower film. It's a little more character-driven, you could say, than I was expecting. Not really, but there's just some more character development in there than I was expecting. Another big problem with the film is that it's definitely hurt by a lot of train jargon. Like, I don't know. A lot of the time you just don't know exactly what they're talking about when they're making these plans to try and stop the train. It's not a big deal, but I just wish they could have simplified it a little. I know it adds to the authenticity, but it makes it a little hard to follow at points. And I think Tony Scott knows this to a certain extent, because he has a news helicopter in the film, and it narrates the whole movie like a play-by-play. It's like, oh, Denzel Washington, he's running down the train, he's going up, oh, he's jumping, oh my god, that was an amazing jump, he's running, the 20, the 30, the 10, he unhooks the train, oh my god. It was just a little over the top of the news helicopter. I don't think they'd be as commentative on the whole thing. I think they'd just show the footage, but it was kind of it was a nice way to keep up with the film, but also it got a little annoying because it was a little obnoxious with the commentary. Also, a lot of people have had a problem with Tony Scott's direction as of late. He's very jumpy, very ADD, likes to use a lot of frame-by-frames and slow motion and zoom-ins and all that stuff. And I have to say, it was toned down in this film. Man on Fire, it was just ridiculous, and Taking the Pelham 123 definitely was distracted a little bit by that. But it was better in this film. The biggest deal is the zoom-ins, but it's not a huge problem. But he definitely calmed down a little bit from his last couple films. And a quick side note, Tony Scott loves to flip police cars over. Remind me not to get in a car with Tony Scott, or any guy who looks remotely like Tony Scott. I mean, have you seen that guy? Not looking so good. But overall, Unstoppable is solid if unspectacular. It's like Speed with a train, and they did a pretty good job. I think the acting was solid, and once it picked up the pace, I was actually pretty engrossed in what was going on. But the first half really detracts from the film. I kind of want to give it a 3 out of 4, but I'm just going to give it a 2.5, just because I was genuinely bored by the first part of the film, and because of just some mild direction issues I had, but it wasn't a big deal. This is still a solid film. It's just not going to be the must-see film of the fall season. 3 videos in one day, wow. So, next week we have Harry Potter. I'm actually going to be here to review it this time. So look forward to that, and I'll see you later.